Hi Libra, happy eclipse reading. All right guys, these readings are not for cross-watching. They're not going to serve you a purpose there, so make sure that you're watching your signs here. And I think especially with your reading here, I think that if there is cross-watching involved, like if you're in a relationship obviously and someone is cross-watching, I think it's one thing to take it in, I guess, if you're choosing to do that. You've got free will here to do what you want, but if you use the reading to overpower someone, because now you've got the inside scoop maybe to what they're going through, I don't think that that'll be beneficial. I'm actually certain you're going to rack up some karma here that'll smack you somehow. So I'm really trying to reiterate the disadvantage to doing that with these eclipse readings. I set them up in such a way because these eclipses are internal. They're internal stuff that we're dealing with that we've got to look at, name, be honest with, and really be honest with ourselves so it sets us free here, right? The truth is freedom. So using these to cross-watch is not, it's a waste of time because it's not your, watch your own reading, and that's where I'm going with that. Anyhow, okay, so what I've done is I've compiled this reading as to what it is that these eclipses are bringing in, bringing out, what our scenarios are, what we need to look at, because these are heavy. They're very, very heavy energies. And if you're in a really tough spot, you're going to not most likely see that there's light at the end of the tunnel here. And there is. These eclipses, it's a disheveling feeling, but I know they're bringing in good stuff. But they're also wedging loose things that are not solid, but that's scary, right? It's a scary energy. I think with you, what I'm getting here when I'm throwing cards, and I clarified everything, is that you've lost your connection through either the stories that you've been telling yourself, how you see the world, you know, it's going to hell in a handbasket, or this or that. And you know, things get out of control when things aren't balanced. I think you guys know that more than anything, right? It's all about balance. But what happens is sometimes we swing all the way here, and then we're like, oh crap, that sucks. So we're going to speed tour it now, turbocharge it all the way over to this side, instead of staying in the middle lane, which is where the balance is, right? It's okay. You know what? Sometimes it's saying, you know what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just going to sit here and be honest with myself. And that is the honest truth. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And be okay with that. Be okay with the uncomfortable feeling of that. It doesn't mean anything is wrong. Just because we're uncomfortable doesn't mean anything is wrong. It just means, you know, I'm disheveled at the moment. I'm going to sit instead of jumping around and wasting my energy, right? But I think what this is really about is, I think that they're unconscious stories that you tell yourself. And this is what I really feel is going to come up here. Things that are unconscious, we've got to sit with them, because we've got to let them show themselves so that we can look at it, name it, and really put it where it needs to be so that it sets us free. In that is the freedom. But if it's unconscious, we don't know what it is. It's that longing, it's that aching, it's that never being fulfilled, never, whatever it is to you. It's that consistent though, right? And I went back on this to see what anchors this reading are things from 3 to 5 years ago. So I'm not looking for willy-nilly things. I'm looking for things that are really, really ingrained in there, that are holding you back, or, you know, going to be setting you free, or one or the other here, right? But I really feel a spiritual disconnect here. And I don't use that word spiritual as in a hypothetical. I think you have really lost faith with a higher power, like your divine connection. I think you've lost faith in that. I think you're looking around at the world and you're making it out to be, or your life, or a story you're telling yourself, or maybe you're pretending to be something that you're really not. You know what I mean? And I think you may back yourself into a corner with that. These eclipses are all about being honest with yourself, really looking at stuff, unpleasant stuff. And that's why I'm doing these. I normally don't do eclipse readings because or moon readings. I think those are sacred times. Those are sacred spaces. And those aren't things that we need to be reading about. But this one it's a lot deeper. It's the strongest I think that we've ever seen in our lifetime. And I think that what it's hitting at is old spiritual trauma that might not even be from this lifetime. It could be, you know, soul trauma. It could be things from your past that you've not resolved. You know what I mean? It can be, those are the things that we're here to do. Those are the reasons. What is my purpose? This is your purpose, is to get to know yourself. I can't get any more specific on these. They're general because I would need to see what sits where in your chart to be able to see exactly what area of that life it's going to show up for you. But you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell because this is not something new. Okay? You know, holding, the world is going through massive changes. Just because it's unsettled right now and it's run amok, it's still of value. This is still a gift to us, the earth, right? So we can't say it's a lost cause. It's not, right? You know, God, your higher power, whoever you reach out to, really doesn't need a wingman. You're here. The earth knows what it's doing. You know, it has a soul, it has a spirit. You know, you need to do your work here on yourself so that you can do your part here. Your part is doing yourself, getting your life in a really great, beautiful spot so that, yeah, it radiates out. And imagine if we all did that, right? There would be world peace. The hell would we do with that, right? Let's find out maybe in our lifetime, right? So that's what I think you're doing. You need to rewrite a story here. You need to, maybe the things that you tell yourself, maybe, you know, sometimes we play the martyr role. Sometimes we think we're the only ones that can do something. You know, my family wouldn't know what to do without me, so I have to stay here, or I have to do this, or I couldn't do this because I had to do this, right? When we put too much responsibility, like we've got to take responsibility for something that's usually not even ours. I can't do this because I've got a responsibility to do this, right? It really is 99.999% of the time an excuse. There's always a way to do both, always. So anyhow, with that said, that's what I think you're doing. You come in with some pretty strong cards, but this is the reason I'm doing this, because I want you to see it's going somewhere. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. This is really strong energy, right? It's really strong energy where people are saying, I'm not going to deal with this ghost in the closet that I can't even see one more round. I'm out of here. We don't want to do that, right? Because that's an impulse. We want to get through this. That's what we're here for, right? To not have to repeat it, to grow further. All right, that's too why these aren't conducive to cross-watching. It's not going to serve you. You can't. Don't jump the gun here. If you're going to watch this and say, I've got a Libra something, I know they're struggling. The worst thing, and it's very hard to watch someone that you care about struggle through something, but they've got to make the legwork. They've got to do the legwork. It's theirs to fix. You know what I mean? So you don't want to, with good intention, rob someone from something that they're supposed to be, that their soul or spirit is supposed to be experiencing, right? So there you go. All right. Now, what you come in with, right, is the Two of Swords. I'm noticing that your clarifiers are clarifying the cards, which means that I'm spot on with it. There's staying power here. These aren't things that are just blowing through your life. They're things that have a hold on you, right? Some you know about, some you don't. Some are most likely unconscious, but they're unconscious learned behaviors, right? Now you come in with the Two of Swords, right? Which is second chances. And we always have them, right? No matter what it is, guys, and we're going to break it down to real bare bones here. I hope you remember this. Every time we inhale and exhale, it's different. That's change. So don't be so terrified of change, right? And don't be terrified to think that it's irresponsible to want something for yourself. It's not. It goes back to the oxygen mask, right? If you don't put an oxygen mask on yourself first, you're of no use to anyone else. So clean your own yard, right? And then go save the world. So there you go. You've got the Two of Swords, right? And the window dressing for that is the 5. of Coins. That's how the Two of Swords is showing up. It's like you've lost faith here. You've lost your spiritual connection. You may not be struggling financially, but you are barren spiritually. And that might be what the disconnect is. That might be what angst it shows up as angst, not being able to sleep. It shows up as in not making wise choices for yourself, right? So there you go. But again, like I say, the Two of Swords, it shows up in here again somewhere. I saw it as one of your clarifiers. So it's we need to really look something. We need to take the blinders off and stop trying to protect ourselves from not feeling discomfort. Feel the discomfort. It's going to show you where you need to go, and then you can name it and then release it, right? You can't hit a revolving whatever if you can't grab it, name it, and give it its due, right? So take the blindfold off, look it in the eye, and deal with it, right? And yes, I think you're protecting yourself from something, but what you're doing is you're holding yourself back. Okay? So the clarifier, the clarifier for that is displeasure, right? The Nine of Coins. Again, there's a thread through here of just being not pleased. Like you're just not pleased. Like nothing is ever good enough, right? Maybe tone that down a little bit too. Or it can be, you know what? No matter what I do for this person, they don't appreciate it. Maybe look at why you're doing things, right? If you're doing things to get praise for something, write that down and look at that. Because if you're not going to do something for someone just for the sake of doing it, like not wanting something in return, it's going to backfire. People are always going to disappoint you, right? I just get from this, it's never enough. No matter, it's just never enough. And this can be the stories you tell yourself too. You know, I always fall short. I'm never enough. Or you're holding unrealistic expectations to something here. Now, your energy coming in, I have to say too, is the Page of Cups. Okay. And the clarifier is the Two of Swords, right? It's the Gambler's card. It's like you're playing with fire, I feel here. You know, like you're kind of selling your soul here to something. You need to take really some downtime here and really just sit, because this is a card of transcendence, not of even growth. It's a card of transcendence. Like if you do this, you will not only be reconnected to your higher power, you will change the world, because you'll be in your rhythm. You'll be where you need to be. You'll see that, yeah, you know what, we are in a state of despair, but it can always get better, and I'm going to do my part. I can't save the world, but I can do my part, you know. And this goes for relationships too. I'm keeping these very light, and in general, you put it where it needs to be. Okay. I think you have a conversation with someone. This may involve a relationship, or you may have a conversation with your parents, or you may have a conversation with someone, or you know what? You may really get your divine connection, and it's okay to just sit and, like I say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You will find out. You will get divine connection here. We had a reading a couple months ago. You are right there. It's a tough spot to be. You know, right before the dawn. It's a tough spot to be. It's like, really? This is it? You know, you're going to see the light. I assure you of that. But there's a story you're telling yourself that you've got to release. You've got to let it go. Or maybe the story that you're telling yourself needs to be an actual story, and you need to write a book, or you need to make a blog, or you need to do a movie, or you need to get it out there. That could be too, right? Tell your story. Just make sure you're conscious of the story that you're telling yourself. Okay, now how you consciously see this, meaning this part of it, you're conscious about. You may just not want to look at it. You've got the Three of Swords. This is repetitive heartbreak repetitive patterns, repetitive places of just not being able to get forward here. I've been here before. It's conscious, right? And your clarifier is the Queen of Cups, which you do have here in your reading. That's a card of it's a card of tenderness, sweetness. She's usually the wife card, the receptive card. Maybe you're not receptive. Maybe you're blind to it. Maybe you've become numb to telling a happy story. Write it down, right? All right, now where you're anchored here, right, which again is the real foundation of this, which has been here years. 3, 5 is the 2 of coins, right? Again, it's the maybe trying to control things that you have no control over. Just release control over the things that aren't yours. Fight the battles that are yours, but leave the ones that aren't. And just go with the flow sometimes. Realize what's in your control and what's not, because what clarifies this is the 9 of Cups. So you've got the 9 of Coins and the 9 of Cups as clarifiers, and if those cards aren't enough for you, my friend, I don't know what would be. You have to ask yourself then that, what would be enough? What would make me happy? Sit with not knowing what that is, you know? Because this is a foundation. Like you could build a house on it. It's been here so long, right? Life is a balancing act. It really is. But again, you can't be the martyr here. And if you're playing that card, you're being asked not to, you know? All right. Now, in the past, the energy's flushing through here. You've got the Queen of Coins here, another coin card, right? This is substance, right? It's either a person of substance. You're the person of substance. You have to remember that, but in a balanced way. The Queen of Coins sometimes can be the world owes me. She's very, very set on how she wants her life to be. And come hell or high water, it's going to work out that way for her. If she doesn't make money, she'll marry money. She's that set in her ways. Maybe you're too set in your ways that you're missing things that are right in front of you. Blessings in front of you. I'm one of these people, and I know that no one really wants to hear this, but I'm going to put it out here. I'm grateful for not the extravagant things in life. I'm grateful, honestly, the things that make me happy and I'm thrilled about, I can see every day. I can talk. I have teeth, you know, that's a big thing for some people. I have eyes. I can feel my feet. I can walk. I have 2 legs and 2 arms. I don't have to do anything to make my heart beat except give grace and thanks for it. You know what I mean? Inhaling and exhaling. Imagine if you had to consciously do that. Like, think about it. Oh, I haven't exhaled in like a month, you know? We do that sometimes though. But these are the gifts that we have every day. How could you possibly not be happy with that? You know what I mean? That in and of itself should bring joy. So there you go. I'm done with that. Now your clarifier here is some money. You've got the 7 of Wands. Right? It's some money. 7 is a card though, again, you're trying to do better. You are trying to do better here. You're trying to change your life. You're aware of these things, right? I may not have all the money in the world that I want. My life might not be exactly how I envisioned it, right? But it's pretty damn good, you know? We usually get what we need, not necessarily what we want, and we're usually blown away and like, wow, yeah, you know what? This is what would have made me happy. Only I've been going this way because I was convinced that that was it. When we sit for a minute and we really realize, I don't know what would make me happy. I really don't know. Be honest with yourself. You'll figure it out. It'll come for you for sure. And that is some money. You know, I may not be Rockefeller, but I've got some money. I've got a roof over my head, you know. Choose your battles, right? Because you've got a gift down here too. The 9 of Hearts. The 9 of Cups. Okay, now, what's coming up for you for the next year? What's going to bring you into this? What's coming through this? How you're going to come out? You've got the Devil card, and you've got, you're already aware of this though. Now you've got the 10 of Coins here, which is travel, movement. So see what I mean? You come in with things, and when you give happiness and you give grace and you're happy and you're telling a better story to yourself than you've been, you can save the world. You can. You've just got to have balance here. You've got to take your power back. Literally. A life lives, or a life lived, over here, go back, or Devil, where you give your power away to something, which means too you're obsessed. You could be obsessed with something. You could be obsessed with the story that you tell yourself. You could be obsessed with the role that you play. I have to be here. How could I possibly think about a life for myself? I have too many responsibilities here. We do it all the time. It's an excuse because we're terrified, right? You're going to be given doors. You're going to be given opportunities here. You're going to be most likely had to look at some serious things here. I assure you, you're getting lucid dreams. I assure you of that. Because I feel very, very strongly, this is not a negative card. And if it's anything out of balance, though, which is where this is, you've got to address. But this, you have the power to pull this right back in and give yourself some power. And you're going to most likely be doing that. That's what's going to get you the ticket to ride here. Okay? And again, there's a journey in here. And this is a journey for you. This is going to be a pretty profound journey inward, which though I think propels you external. Okay? I think you find your drop spot. You find where you truly belong. You find your community. You find the people that you're supposed to be with, that you want to be with, that you're happy to be with. It may be a cause that you're going for too. Again, you know, you're going to save the world by saving yourself first. And we usually trip ourselves up with these stories. Now, what you need to do here to make this reading come to fruition, what you need, again, it's a general reading. If you don't like any of the cards, knowledge is power. You can change these, right? Now, you've got the Death card here, which is, again, you know you need to let certain things go. This is conscious. This is not going to come as a surprise to you. You already know this. It's the legwork you've got to do. This isn't always the easiest card here, especially these two, right? This is like, I've got to do this. I've just got to do it. And you will, you know. It's put your nose to the grindstone, right? And really just do it. If your skill set isn't where it needs to be, and you're puffing your chest to yourself, so to speak, hypothetically, and you're finding like, you know, I think the world is wrong. It's everyone around me, but I'm not. There's nothing wrong with me. It's the world. Everything else is wrong around me. We need to check that. We absolutely need to check that. Okay? And that's what you'll be dealing with. I'm not laughing. It's just I know I can feel you already going, oh, but I am perfect. And of course you are. We all are, right? Now, what I want to say here too, with the Death card, where's the clarifier for that? You've got weakness, which is the 7 of Swords. The 8 of Swords. This is, it's the brain trap we do to ourselves. You have with this card, I assure you, but you're probably at dis-ease, which is going to make you ill, right? So you want to snap this back into place. This card, it's the things you tell yourself. Again, nothing is ever good enough. It's the lack mentality, right? I don't know, I'm mesmerized by that hat on her head. But anyhow, I think you're feeling really depleted here because you come in like this, right? Like no matter what I do, I'm still not happy, right? Whatever I do, people still aren't happy, right? But this card is saying, you know, someone is offering you something here. You just need to believe in yourself. This card, though, can really be what you're going to have to face is that, you know what, again, my life may not be perfect, but I've got people around me, you know, you're just going to have to reassess some things, and I guess the things that are around you that are true blessings that you've disconnected with, or you're just not even seeing anymore. We take for granted usually the things that are sitting right in front of us, right? With the Eight of Swords, you feel trapped, but you're not. It's a matter of this, and it's a matter of letting this go. You're hanging on to something too. You could be hanging on to a relationship too that's long gone, you know, but I think this is more patterns, right? All right. Now in your domestic life, your work, your day-to-day, you know, how people see this, how you see this, you've got the Ace of Wands with the Three of Swords, which this is the Three of Swords. I have so much that I want to do, but I don't know how the hell to get there or what it is, right? Be open and receptive. Be open and receptive. That's the Queen of Cups, and I'll show you why, because she shows up in your next spot here. But this is energy. It's vitality, right? It's getting out of that mindset and getting here, right? You're thinking the world has screwed you over somehow, but I assure you they haven't. This is a story that you're telling yourself here. I feel, though, honestly, that a lot of this is unconscious. I think that you're going to figure out where this fits. I think what you're doing to yourself now is a byproduct of what's ingrained in here. You know what I mean? But where did that come from? That's the unconscious part. When we don't know where it's coming from, we're assuming it's ours. Not necessarily. It could be crap you didn't finish in your last lifetime that you're having to do with. Again, this is general. You can tell what this is by where certain things fit in your chart. You can tell exactly where it sits and how it's being worked out in this lifetime. So when we know where we've come from, we know how to get where we're going, right? It's a catch-22, but you can see it in your chart for sure. It doesn't mean that every time, though, we get the mark. It doesn't. Sometimes we do lifetimes trying to get around the same bend, right? We keep running through the back door of our south node to get to the front door, and we've got to just continually go in through the front door, right? But when we lose our... See what house your south node sits in. The house. That'll show you what part of your life here you're using as like a hideaway, sort of. It's useful because we need to know what it is, but we have to move away from there, right? Now, in your hopes and fears, your anxieties, the things that you want to do, but maybe that you're afraid of, the two sides of the same coin, you've got the Queen of Cups. She showed up here. I think you're looking for a solid foundation in your life. This could be a person for sure. And she showed up here with your Three of Swords. So you may be in a you may have gotten out of a relationship that you just can't get past, or it's still sitting very, very sharply here. Okay, but this again, these are patterns. So if it's a relationship you got in, it's one you got in for a reason. That's the issue. The reason in and of itself is where you want to dig for this, which is here, right? Okay. Now the clarifier for her is the Ace of Coins. A whole new start. And on this card, it's a letter, right? It could be a letter. It could be a letter too that, you know, maybe you need to write to someone, or maybe that you need to write to yourself, or you need to be open to hear something that maybe someone has to say that maybe you don't want to hear, right? You may have it going a certain way when in fact the other person is looking at it completely different. It could be just something you sold yourself. It can be, right? Now your outcome card here, which is the general overview of this reading. It's not the outcome of how this plays out. It's the overall here. But you've got to do some work here, right, to get this to go this way. This is also things that might not be on your periphery. You've got the Four of Wands clarified by the Six of Swords. Okay, this is an oxymoron too. The Four of Swords is a foundation. It's a great card to have on the home front. It's a wedding card. It's a marriage card, right? In the workplace, it's, again, I puffed my chest to take on responsibilities that I may not be qualified for. And eventually, we don't have it here, but the Tower card will show up, right? If you're a workaholic, say, and you're wondering why your relationships are tanking, that could be why too. It's just your whole reading is about balance, but it's more about the stories that are just stories, right? We want to change those up. We want to let go of guilt, regret. There's a lot of the big ones sitting under the hood here. I can feel it for sure. Now, again, the Seven of Swords. I think that I really think you're deceiving yourself. I don't think someone's doing this to you. The Seven of Swords is that card of sneakiness here. And again, you've got in your domestic life here, your home, your business, what you tell people, what people say, right? It's not just your domestic life. It's what are people saying about your situation here. You've got the Three of Swords. Right? So the story, I think there's some blips in the story here that need to be looked at by yourself, because I think you need to be honest with yourself about some stuff. Tough stuff. I feel weight in here. And that's what I think the Seven of Swords is. I don't think someone's trapping you or betraying you. I think it might be the stories that you're telling yourself are doing that to you. Now what I did with your reading was I pulled a card here, right, from another deck, because this, I want to give you something more to walk with, because I think you're going to deal with some stuff here. Okay, now this card is, I'm going to screw up her name, Artia. Okay, this is Mother Earth, good luck, love, happiness, joy, abundance, building things. Take a look at this card. I just got them, and my Greek is a little not wonderful, but I know for a fact that that's what this card is. So the joy and the happiness, it all sits here for you. You're just going to need to reconnect yourself with whatever your higher power is and realize that, yes, you can be a beacon in this world that is in the midst of massive change, right? One person didn't create this shitstorm that this world is in. It took a lot of us, and we all need to take responsibility for our little yard. Fix your life. And everyone will do the same thing. That's what these eclipses are about. Keeping these short. There you go. I hope that this was helpful. If you need a private reading, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to look at this for you. But again, you've got to let go of some stuff here to welcome in this, which is what you want. You're just heading the wrong way. See, you're going the wrong way. You want to go this way. Health, happiness, joy, abundance, love. Right? There you go.